Guys, on today's topic, is this the end of Lamborghinis as we know it? And actually a lot more other sports cars. Some new regulations, stuff that's happening, today's latest news and stuff that we've kind of unraveled and discovered as we're going through stuff here at Mod Bargains. I'm going to jump right into it. Hey guys, so welcome back to another Talking Mods, and as you guys know, I'm the owner of Mod Bargains, and I'm not trying to do a shameless plug, but as the year was ending, we actually ran into a couple of very interesting things that we started seeing from some exhaust manufacturers. More of the exhaust manufacturers who are on the ball usually, right? Who know what's going on in regulations, especially the ones in Europe, like companies like Remus and Akrapovic. They basically had some new things that we're running into, and we were trying to understand what it was. As we delved into it, found some startling new stuff with emissions that's happening out in Europe and in China actually. And I know this video you might think, okay, this might not be relevant, but it is very relevant, and I know some of our viewers are from Europe and from China. But oftentimes we see all these things kind of trickle down into the U.S. I know our majority of our viewers are in the U.S., but our viewership is across, so I am recognizing that. Anyway, I am looking down only because I have a couple of notes jotted down. I'll explain what I'm talking about and what's going on. So basically in Europe, guys, there's a company regulation. So here we have the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. In Europe, we have a new standard that's come about since the 1980s and kind of created like a version 2.0 of themselves. It's called the WLTP. It is a worldwide harmonized light vehicle test procedure. So it's this laboratory test for fuel combustion and CO2. And this in particular is a new types of emission. Now in Europe, what they call homologated is more of a design aspect for exhaust in terms of sound, right? Because there's sound ordinances in Europe, and that same ones actually apply in Asia as well. And so that's why kind of there's a variation between the European sound and a US sound, where there's a certain decibel level that it cannot surpass, especially when it's driving by. If you guys want, there's a video, I think it's the second video of when I was at Remus. You can see they built a track. They spent a lot of money for these regulations, very expensive. But what's happened is now this is more of an emissions kind of thing. And there's a new type of emissions. They based it off of the diesel particle filter, which is called DPF, right? And it's based off that, and this new regulation requires vehicles, okay, to have an OPF. What is an OPF? It's an auto particle filter. It's really basically anything that's gasoline based. It's a gasoline particle filter. So now it's going to be, the acronym is going to be OPF. So especially when you're looking at vehicles, if you're in Europe, hey, does my car have an OPF?
Let's find out.
Well, if your car is from 2021, the new year, your car is going to have an OPF in it. So it's going to require that. Now, aftermarket-wise, it has to comply with OPF. So that has to be in there. Yes, you already have your catalytic, and now you've got your OPF as well. So this is, this is right after the downpipes cat, then you've got your OPF, and then you got your secondary cats. This is just taking the emissions to the next level. What does it mean? This is where it kind of gets, this is what does it mean, right? These are gasoline-based engine cars. And in previous videos, I've talked about in previous videos that between electric cars and gasoline cars, one of the big things with gasoline cars is that there's the emotion, right? There is what makes us love as enthusiasts. We love these cars that are gasoline engine, right? And yes, I'm okay with electric cars, but at the end of the day, I still love gasoline engine. As an enthusiast, I want to drive, have that exhaust sound. I want to feel that motor, all of that. The OPF is going to make it sound like garbage. I take out whatever explicitive I want to say because it's going to sound really bad. It's going to take away all sound. It's going to make it very muffled. It's going to sound terrible. And that's very scary because the companies that are particularly on target here are who the WLTP is like targeting, and this all started, right? This all started because of the Volkswagen scandal with the whole diesel situation, right? Where they tricked it and so forth. Well, the EU, the European Union, went really hard after them. Well, who owns Volkswagen? They also own Lamborghini. They also own Bentley. So as I started off with the initial intro statement, I said that Lamborghini are gonna be dead. I mean that. Because Lamborghinis, well, basically what this means is now you don't have that exhaust sound. What makes a Lambo, besides the looks, you're gonna have that look, but it's gonna sound like garbage. So Lamborghini is gonna have to have the OPF in it, and now it doesn't have a sound at all. It's gonna be dead silent, like a electric car, for example, right? So yes, you're going to have that look. What's that? What does that mean? It means that those cars and every other car, right, except cars that are produced less than 10,000, right? So as long as they don't pass the 10,000 mark and below, they are exempt from this according to the new law. So Ferrari, they don't produce over 10,000 cars. Koenigsegg, you're going to be safe with. Some of the McLarens, depends on which one, right, will be safe in this regard. But Lambo is on target because they're part of that group. Bentley as well. So I can only imagine that this basically kills all the emotion that you might have with a Lamborghini, right? This is part of hearing that motor is part of that, you know, that emotional feel there. And the same applies to Asia. This is translated over. In previous videos, I talked about the EPA, so you guys can check that out as well. The EPA, you know, here is obviously watches what happens across the world, and they see this, you know, what production, what's going on, right? Every country kind of adopts each other. And when the EPA started cracking down on the aftermarket scene, well, why did it happen? It happened again because of the Volkswagen scandal. So, believe me, they're going to be paying attention for it. And I'm hoping that we don't see this happen in the US for the vehicles that we have. It'll take some time. But the very possibility of this happening is on the horizon for all of us who have, you know, who are buying a gas engine powered vehicle and want to have a nice sounding car. So, I know most of us cannot afford to go buy a Ferrari, and it's going to, if anything, the wait lists are going to get crazier. So if you want a prediction, Lamborghini's going to suffer tremendously. Lamborghinis that are older might hold a higher value, but the other cars are only going to get more demand. They're going to let the Lambo and the Bentley shares are going to disappear, I believe. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. I mean, this is obviously pretty scary for the market. The U.S. market is not being affected by this at the moment. But it could happen very soon. Obviously in Europe this has just started, so like BMWs, M2s, M4s, etc., they're all going to be affected. Porsche, etc. These all vehicles are going to get affected by it, and they're all going to sound, I'm going to watch my words, garbage. I think you know what I want to say here, but let me know what you guys think, because it's kind of scary what's going to happen there. You know, it's already happening in Europe, and they already have a lot of regulations. It's happening in Asia. I see it eventually happening out here. Hopefully not. Obviously, I'll be watching to see what happens on it. But if you do hear the term in our industry, guys, OPF, and I know some people who work in the industry are looking at this, and you might have not heard about it. This is a brand new development, and obviously here in the US we wouldn't know about it, but it's a very big deal and something scary. Guys, please hit the like button if you like this topic. Not just this topic, if you like the channel. And if you guys can, click the share button and share it with others. That's how we grow organically and how we get more subscribers. Guys, I appreciate all the comments, the likes. You guys especially, you make this happen. And as always, I will talk to you guys later on Talking Mods.